and welcome back to Durian ASEAN. You're with Gauri.
And this is Arlene.
And of course, this is Anything Can Happen Friday, where we bring you the arts and cultural side of Southeast Asia. And today we have a very interesting topic, something that we rarely talk about in Durian ASEAN, though we had a few guests in the past, but this time it's going to be a more in-depth discussion about stand-up comedy in Malaysia.
And of course, the right person to get him is another Rizal, because previously we interviewed another Rizal.
It was Rizal Van Gazel, but now we have Mr. Rizal Kamal from Comedy Club KL, also LOL Events. He will clarify the difference later. Let's say good morning.
Beautiful ladies.
Hello, good morning.
To be here.
Thank you so much for coming in so early in the morning
welcome.
to join us.
Great. I love Fridays.
Oh yeah, and,
We all too.
Mr. Rizal, maybe you want to give us a little bit of introduction to yourself. What do you do with the company? What's your role?
I'm the CEO of LOL Events, and we do comedy shows. For the past 6 years, we've done shows by the name of Comedy Club KL. I think that's our biggest brand. We also do a open mic feature show called Comedy Cow Cow. The Kings and Queen of Comedy Asia, our annual events with the best Asian artists, and as well the big stars like Jeff Dunham, the puppet guy, and upcoming in just 1 week, just next week Friday is Russell Peters.
Very, very popular among the Malaysians. He was here the last time as well.
Yes, he was here in 2012, and it was just amazing. Seeing someone of that stature in comedy and the ability to entertain 8,000 people at a time, it's fantastic. And I love the guy. He's like a little kid. He's always joking around, even backstage, and always hustling. He loves women, and he's just a fun guy who lives a fantastic life.
So you I assume you have met him.
Oh yes.
And how's that like? Did you try to crack some jokes with him?
Did he laugh at your joke?
Russell, check this out.
He's the guy that always who cracks jokes all the time, and I let him do his thing, and that's what I do. I get comedians down and let them do the best try to put the best of them on stage and off stage.
And maybe a little bit more about the company itself, LOL Events.
So we've been around for 6 years, and we've brought over 100 international comedians down to Malaysia, and we also deal a lot with the local comics. Everyone actually, with Rizal Van Gazel, Hari Skanda, Douglas Lim, Joanne Kam. I've done shows with each and every one of them, and it's been really good 6 years. And right now we're changing the direction of the company a little bit. To not be too focused on comedy.
Okay.
So be more serious, are you saying that?
No. You see, rather than focus on comedy, we are going to be focused on laughter, which is just a little bit different. It's just, when you think about it, comedy is about an art, and it's a beautiful art. It's something that I really enjoy getting into. The art of comedy, but there is also that part of comedy where you need to be edgier. You need to be a little bit dangerous,
right?
Because if your comedy is too simple, you don't get the respect of other people in the comedy industry. However, when we focus on laughter, it's more about the people. It's more about the people. It's more about people like you and me who just sit down and we just want to laugh. It's about making people's lives better, happier. No, because we all need a laugh. So, GST stressing us out. So there a few comes those GST.
So I'm sure there's some GST jokes there.
Just to GST jokes, just to lighten the situation. And laughter can come in all forms. and that's what we are focused on nowadays.
So when if in that context, you would say that comedy is more focused on the comedian, but when you head towards laughter, it becomes more people-oriented. More
Yes,
about
I think in a
audience
sense
itself.
that is it. I mean, there are comedy fans, and some people say, "Oh no, I don't really like comedy," because they have a bad experience in a comedy show. Sometimes comedy show is good, sometimes it's not so good. It happens in every type of art. But laughter is for everyone. Who doesn't want to laugh, and who doesn't like to laugh? It's part of being human. And we all, I think it's something that we all need more every day.
When you mention laughter, is there like any particular acts that you have in mind, or the platform that you have in mind?
For example, we are trying to put different types of acts down. We're planning to bring Japanese comedian down. And the great thing about these Japanese comedians is you don't need language to be able to understand of their comedy, and how they make people laugh is different from how traditionally we see the structure of comedy here in Malaysia. And that's what I want to show, that laughter is different to different people, and it can be delivered in different ways.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to ask you about language as well. How important is language when it comes to comedy or laughter? I'm a bit wary about using those terms now.
I mean, language is very important, because especially in the art of stand-up comedy, you need to have a high command of that particular language, because their delivery is usually on a higher level. And when I say higher level, it means that there's a certain level, you have to have a certain command. For example, if you do English stand-up, if you listen to it, you have to have a certain level of command of English, and you have to have a certain understanding of world affairs, or how other people live their lives. If you are like a hermit and you don't really speak the language well, and someone tells you a story, you can't really relate to it, you won't find that funny. But more slapstick kind of comedy is slapstick comedy is more universal. And there's a lot of those in Raja Lawak that does them well, although some of them don't do it very well. But in Japan, what I see is in their culture, they have a special kind of comedy that is unique to Japan, and I'd like to bring that down and see how people react to it here, as well as whether we can integrate this type of comedy into our culture.
And what about in terms of language, as in Malaysian context? Do people generally prefer to listen to them in English or Malay or
in other words, I think, how do you make Malaysian laugh?
Well, I've been doing English stand-up comedy for the past 6 years, and I think it's about time we expand, due to the fact that the vision of LOL right now is to make as many people as possible laugh. The style of English and Malay stand-up comedy is different. Malay comedy is a lot of a sketch, a lot of silliness, a lot of nonsense, and that actually appeals to a much larger group of Malays, because it's simple, and it's easy to understand, and it's simple. But there is also a group of Malay stand-up comics who follows the format of English stand-up comedy, and that is going to be very interesting. They just started. I think wait for a couple of years, we'll see a star to come out of that, and the face of Malay comedy will change. I expect that.
Do you know what event is that people can actually go and listen to?
There's one called Cerita Malam Jumaat.
Okay.
That happens in PJ Live Arts. Crack House as well does Malay stand-up comedy nights.
I want to ask you more about LOL itself. How did you get roped into this?
Oh, you created this.
Well, I always knew that Malaysia needs a different type of comedy. When I saw Eddie Murphy, Raw and Delirious, and that was in the late 1990s, and that blew me away. That blew me away because it's like, wow, I've never seen this kind of comedy. A lot of the comedy we see is quite silly, you know, like Mr. Oz kind of comedy. Well, for my generation, especially, we grew up with that.
Okay.
So seeing Eddie Murphy do that really inspired me, and I've always wanted that kind of comedy to be available in Malaysia. So when I had the opportunity with John Atherton and my good buddy Rizal, who started the Comedy Club Asia in Singapore, I decided to immediately bring the shows to KL.
But how did you know that? I mean, you said you were inspired by that whole Eddie Murphy thing. But how did you know that your fellow Malaysians would also feel the same way and appreciate this kind of comedy?
Because I think I'm pretty normal. and I know how I feel about this. I know a lot of Malaysians, other people feel the same way, and just based on that, I can feel that there is the need. For the first year of shows, we in the Comedy Club KL, we sold out almost every show.
Wow.
And there was quite an achievement. I remember in November 2009, 4 shows, we sold out every show in that month, and it was comedian Akmal Saleh from Australia, Chris McCausland from UK, he was a blind comedian, and there was Harith Iskandar and Andrew Neto. It was a good run of shows.
And in the last 6 years, what would you say, or what has your observation been about the changes in the scene in KL or in Malaysia?
People's choices are maturing, and
they're more picky, I guess.
They're more picky.
It's like, you must get good comedians first.
Because of course, there are hits and miss. There are times we brought British comedian which were too British,
too dry in the way.
And we brought down Scottish comedians which nobody can really understand. So it's a mix. I think nowadays people, because there's a lot more comedy shows out there, people are more picky. At first, what I see is they love the international comedians because it was so fresh and new.
Right.
But once they've gone through the international comedians, there is a change due to the fact that suddenly they feel that the local comedians they can relate to better, because the local comedians tell the story of their everyday lives. As the difference between the let's say British comedian come down, they tell a story of something they read on the news. Or something they've seen during their holidays.
So you're saying that people tend to love things that they are more familiar with. So and local comedians can deliver this because they are more familiar with what is happening here.
Exactly. When something, the closer the subject is to the person, the funnier you'll find it. If someone makes a political joke, if it's American politics, we might not find that really funny, but when it comes to local politics, because we feel it so dearly, because it affects our everyday lives. I mean, someone makes a joke about local politicians or any particular local subject, we'll laugh. We'll really laugh at it because we find it funny and it affects us. Because the laughter is about how we feel about things. It's all interconnected.
And when it comes to doing stand-up comedy itself, I guess before this, we've heard about stand-up comedies. We know Harith Iskandar and all, but Malaysians generally don't really. Maybe I would say not really willing to spend that much of money, because some of the tickets cost like 200-300 ringgit, and they might be a bit skeptical, like, do I really want to pay this much of money to just...
They would rather pay for One Direction, is it? Is that what you meant?
Something like that.
Yes, but neither did One Direction didn't make it to Malaysia.
That's a good point.
Well, everyone has their worth, and each talent has their what they feel they're worth, and they will charge what they're worth, and they will continue to, if they feel that they can deliver really good comedy, they will charge higher, and that's just the nature of things, of how it works. I think most of the time, if you pay good money, you will get good comedy. And it's not just about the artist. Sometimes it's about the setup, whether the sound is great, the lights, how the presentation of the whole thing is, whether it's run by experienced event organizers. These all come into play when you pay for a ticket, because comedy is sometimes such a fragile art that if you deal with an inexperienced event organizer who doesn't understand comedy, they'll do basic mistakes. For example, the light, too much shadow on the comedian's face, and you can't really see the face, or echo in the sound system, and you can't really hear what the comedian is saying. You know, sometimes those simple things. The wrong layout for seats, even that affects your experience as the audience. So usually you get what you pay for. Yeah.
So it seems like a good comedy show, or stand-up comedy show, it's similar to a good theatre show, because it's live, and you need to ensure that the environment can actually enhance the comedian's joke as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Seems like,
for sure. It's about the entire experience, and most importantly, in any show, I think in any art, it's about the energy in the room. The energy must feel right from the beginning to the end. And when I say energy, the audience bring the energy. The comedian, people on stage bring a certain energy. And when this energy is combined, you can get something bad, or you can get something really special. Yeah. Like one of my best shows to me is this guy, Jeff Dunham, and all his puppets. The reason behind it is because there were some problems with the show.
Okay.
We couldn't bring Ahmed the Dead Terrorist on stage, but the government wouldn't allow it because Ahmed is depicted as Muslim. And is a Muslim terrorist. So the government said no. We tried so hard to get it. Jeff Dunham was very upset. But we managed to put on a show by not bringing Ahmed on stage, but we brought Ahmed's brother, which is Ahmed with a hat and a mustache, and he speaks in a French accent. So that particular bit of the show was really special to the audience, because they expected Ahmed the Dead Terrorist not to go on stage either, because we understand how Malaysia is. But by bringing, by being creative and bringing this other character on stage, it was quite magical. The energy in the room was amazing, and even Jeff Dunham, right after the show, it was that was the best audience. That was the best audience reaction I've had throughout the entire tour.
Okay.
Yeah. So Malaysia is very special to him.
I see.
So before we take a break, I want to ask you: have you done stand-up? Is that your thing?
I have done stand-up, and I'm pretty bad at it. But every comedian starts out badly anyway. Most comedians take about 2 years before they can even do a decent 10-minute set. So I think I got the first time I went on stage, I hardly got any laughs. But by the fourth time I got on stage, I got people laughing at my jokes. So that was to me quite an achievement.
Baby steps.
Yeah, I mean the night after. Right after the show, I couldn't sleep. I was so happy. The energy you get from the audience when you're on stage is actually quite amazing.
So we will take a short break now. When we come back, we will talk more to Rizal about the stand-up scene in Malaysia. Anything can happen Friday. The art and cultural side of Southeast Asia. Hello and welcome back to Durian ASEAN. You're with Gauri.
And this is Arlene.
And we still have Rizal here
Hello.
with us.
Hello, Rizal Kamal.
Still okay? Still going?
Yeah, I mean, I love being with you girls. You girls are really nice to look at, and we have a good energy in the room.
Oh yeah, we do. So Arlene has some very
Pressing questions.
questions for you.
Well, I know Malaysians love jokes, especially if it's related to politics, economy. I mean, GST could be a very good starting point. But do you ever get into trouble doing political jokes in any of your event?
Yes.
Dun dun dun.
It was a little bit of a shocking incident for me because I got a call from the special branch. And because one of my comedians, I'm not going to say who, just in case, made jokes about a certain Mongolian model and C4. So the call said, and it's like, we got a report from that your event has had false allegations against the Prime Minister. Immediately I knew what happened, and I had to tell them it was a comedy show. They didn't know. They thought it was a speech rally kind of thing. So I explained to them that it's actually a comedy show. They did an investigation. Investigated the venue, investigated the event, the venue.
So they actually went to your event and
no,
watched
I mean
the whole show?
well, it was the day after, of course. The day after, they investigated the venue, they interviewed, and realized, okay, this is a comedy show, and this let me off with a warning.
I see.
I could have been in jail.
But they didn't actually ask you for the specifics.
Yes, they did. They asked who the comedian is. I just had to answer questions just straight up. But I think when they found out it was actually a comedy show, they lightened up. Although because a lot of local comedians do political jokes, and a lot of the times the political jokes gets the biggest laughs.
It is. I mean, Malaysians are passionate when it comes to their politics. I mean, similar to the Americans. That's why for my favorite comedy acts would be Jon Stewart and John Oliver. So yeah.
I mean, they both on both sides. The best comedians actually do jokes that attacks both sides of the political landscape. You just got to know how to balance it off. Don't name names and just insinuate, because people know the situation. I mean, people know certain topics. Just the best comedians, they don't say names, and they just make fun of a certain political situation, and most of the time they do get away with it. Actually, I don't think there's any comedian that has been prosecuted, because to prosecute a comedian is taking it too seriously, in a sense. They're taking it to another level. But prosecuting or arresting reporters is one thing, but when you arrest an entertainer, it says something else. So, in a sense, we're sort of allowed, not by law, but by the fact that the authorities at this point will not take any actions.
So it's like a seesaw. There's like the ruling party on one side, the opposition on one side. You have to make sure that the seesaw stays in the middle, that it cannot be outweighed by the other.
When a comedian does a joke, like say if they want to make fun of a race, they have to make fun of themselves first. That is the golden rule. If you're a Malay, you have to say that Malays are lazy, and then you can attack the Indians and the Chinese. If you believe in a certain political party, you lean towards one area, you have to say something bad about one political party before you move on to the other. So it's sort of like.
So the golden rule is to make everybody feel bad. Then you will not be persecuted for what you say.
Yeah, well, in the sense that you have to attack yourself first. You say, I like this political party, but this political party is dumb because of this. But then this other political party is even worse because of that. That's usually the formula.
I see. Do you have a lot of female comedians in Malaysia?
Well, we have Joanne Kam, which is our queen. Yeah. And there's there's a few more. Oh my God! I keep mentioning Singapore comedians.
That means the feminists are looking at you and saying that you're not providing enough safe space for woman comedian to flourish.
Yeah, for this we might get into trouble though. Not the one. But when it comes to gender, do you think there's a balance in the comedians in Malaysia, or it's more of like a male-dominated for now?
Actually, all over the world is a male-dominated industry. I think the ratio is something like 90% male comedians and 10% female comedians. And it's not so surprising. What is the number one thing women look for in a man? Most of the time, when we have a list,
I think I know the answer.
Good money, have money, confidence. I think
have a sense of humor.
Yes, exactly.
Actually, it's true. I think one of the criteria is a guy that can make me laugh. If he cannot make me laugh, it'll be a very stressful situation.
So I think genetically, or we've been built we have to be able to make women laugh.
But don't men want the same thing? A woman who can make them laugh?
That is not usually on the top of the list.
Gauri, where are you going?
No.
Men usually, I like a woman who's hot. Whatever that definition, whatever what that means, Right. Male are just stupid that way. But women want guys to be able to make them laugh.
Well, women are just living a more stressful life than men, so that's why we want men to entertain us.
I guess. I think because of that, there's a lot more male comedians. I know there's a lot of funny women out there. It's just that I think women prefer to do other things than making people laugh.
And speaking of that, you are also talking about your tour earlier. So besides Malaysia, what other countries that you've been to, that you've watched or had shows over there in Southeast Asia?
One of the goals is to build a strong network with everyone in the Southeast Asia market, because the industry is growing everywhere. I think for 5 years ago, countries, especially in Hong Kong, Manila, Singapore, Malaysia, Jakarta, India, where the high number of English speakers, the stand-up comedy scene is growing superbly fast, and everyone still don't know where the industry is going and where it should head to. So we work together. We get to know all the comedians, get to know all the promoters that are in the industry, and we we work together to grow the industry as a whole. Because 5 years ago, nobody would talk about a comedy industry. There's no such thing. There's the entertainment industry, there's the arts industry. But I think nowadays we actually have a genuine comedy industry. It's something that can actually is big enough to stand on its own.
So I can stop saying stand-up scene and say the stand-up industry.
Yeah, why not?
Let's use the word industry.
Right. And so to talk about the industry itself, of course we have other companies. We were talking about it earlier. We have the Crack House. We have something going on in PJ Live Arts. So do you all work together, or you try to outdo each other?
I think most of the time we work together, but sometimes we do try to outdo each other. But the scene is so small that everyone knows who everyone is, and we know everyone on a personal level, not just on a
professional level.
Professional level, yeah, because it's just a small group of us, and we all have a goal of growing the industry. So it's a very good position to be now. It's like a bunch of guys who started something, and we just want to see our baby grow.
But the industry is centered in Kuala Lumpur only, or you have it in other major towns like Penang, Johor, and maybe what about Sabah, Sarawak?
Sabah, we did our first show in Sabah a few years ago, and then our good friend Joel is doing shows regularly there. So Sabah, KK has a regular comedy show, and that's fantastic. Penang does also have comedians right now from all over Southeast Asia. We travel to each other's countries. Singapore comedians go to KK, and then go to Penang, and then go to Hong Kong, go to India, and Indian comedians travel all around, and we work like that via a network. And that's how it goes, and it's great. Because in comedy, how many times can you hear the same joke?
Maybe 3 times.
Right. For me, like I've seen comedians do a joke maybe 20 times because I watch them so many times. Especially the comedians which I'm close to, like Andrew Neto or even Harith. I've seen them tell the same jokes more than 20, 30 times. For me, I like to see how they evolve the joke, but not everyone has that kind of enjoyment when they listen to a joke. So comedians travel. Whenever they travel, they go out and they have a totally new audience, and they can tell jokes that we've been telling 50 times over in a new area. It's fresh. So that is why we have so many traveling comedians all over the world.
Okay. And speaking of the show business itself, what is, I would say, the pros and cons of being in the comedy industry?
It's not an industry yet.
The pros is that I mentioned that the network in Malaysia is small. And then the network in Southeast Asia is bigger. But suddenly you have friends all over the world. Like I have friends all over the world because of the traveling comedians. They come, and then they do shows here. When I go to UK, I go to US, I go to Australia, I already have people I know. And the other great thing is I do comedy in Malaysia. Someone does comedy in Japan. I just contact them, and we'd meet up and just share stories, share ideas. It's a way for me to meet strangers very easily, and it works the same with all comedians. They have friends all over the world. I think that's great. The cons is it's people are still there's the story of materials. Yeah. Whether the material is genuine and whether the material is stolen. That is a big fight among comedians. whether it's acceptable in one culture and it's not acceptable in another culture. If you go to UK, race is a big no-no. Do not talk about race. To a point that if you say something bad about a black guy in the audience, people will get upset and leave, or get aggressive against the comedian. Okay. Here in Malaysia, it's like, that Chinese is like this, Indian is like this, Malay
we're kind of open with our so-called stereotypes and racism.
Yeah, but politics is just you have to be very careful. In the States, you can say anything about the president, and nobody would care. It's in their culture. But here, if you say something bad about our prime minister, you get in trouble.
I think in Malaysia, religion is also
as well.
It's a no-go.
It's a no-go.
Area.
There's 3 areas where there's a no-go. Do not talk about politics, especially if it's local politics. You can say something bad about George Bush or an American president, let's say. But you can't say anything bad about our prime minister. Religion is a no-no, especially on Islam. Other religions, if you can make it tasteful, yes, it's okay. But Islam is just a big no-no. Number 3 is, of course, do not make fun of our royalty. That
Period.
is no.
You sound like you learned that the hard way.
Nobody here makes fun of our royalty. Nobody. None of the comedians. We make fun of our politicians, yes, all the time, or politics, but nobody makes fun of royalty. Just not on. Which is good. We have to have barriers.
Right.
Every culture has to have their own barrier. Like if we really revere and respect our rulers or the royalty, then that's it. That's what we adhere to.
So we are going to take another short break, and when we come back, we will continue discussing with Rizal. Anything can happen Friday. The art and cultural side of Southeast Asia. Hello and welcome back to Duran ASEAN. You're with Gauri.
And this is Arlene.
And we have
Rizal, Kamal, not Rizal Van Gazel.
He's hearing.
A lot of people confuse between me and Rizal Van Gazel, because the comedy industry or comedy scene is small. So people, Rizal, Rizal Van Gazel. No, Rizal Kamal. Oh, okay.
Rizal Van Persie.
You should define yourself. Rizal, the sexy one. Then you will know it's me.
That's why I think Rizal Van Gazel also goes by his glamour name of Van G. So Van G.
We didn't know that.
We didn't know that.
So I want to ask you a bit about our local comedians. I know we have amazing comedians. I've watched a lot of them as well. But is there a reason why they don't do like a worldwide tour as much? And why is it that they don't get that level of fame like other comedians do when they're from the US or from the UK?
For one thing, you have to do comedy for at least 3, 4, 5 years before you really get the hang of doing jokes on stage. That's step 1. Step 2 is being able to appeal to an international audience, and that's not every comedian can do that. You can tell stories about home, but when you go to Australia, can people understand what you do at home? In Malaysia, what happens in KL? And if you can't find a way to bridge that, you won't be able to perform internationally. As compared to like singing, let's say, you can be a really good singer, you can practice at home, blah blah blah, and by the time you come to a certain point, you go on stage and you can sing very well. Probably in a year you can even become a big star. But for comedy, for stand-up comedy at least, it takes a long time, because the only way you can learn and be good is on stage. You tell yourself a joke on the mirror, you might find it funny, but not necessarily the audience would find it funny. So
how long it takes to be like Russell Peters?
Well, if you are super talented, it may take you as quickly as 5 years. Well, maybe not to become Russell, because Russell is just another level.
Right.
But to become a known comedian that can consistently make people laugh. I think it will take at least 5 years to reach that level. Harif Iskandar, it took him 20 years before he really booms. Right now, he's one of our best, and then he can consistently make people laugh in every show. And it took me a long time to come to that.
Is there a formula on how, probably a basic one, on how to be or how to tell a successful joke to an audience?
You need to have a female audience first to make the girls laugh. Then you will know.
Possibly. You have to have a good audience. I think the most important thing about telling a joke is confidence. You have to be able to deliver a joke well. Number 2 is you have to understand the structure of a joke. It has to surprise. You can't tell a funny story and not have some certain surprises in it.
Right.
It has to be a basic formula of setup for the joke and then the punchline. A lot of the times, the open micers don't even get that. You just have to have that simple formula. And when they go on stage, they just ramble, tell stories, blah 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 blah, without any punchline. And we're like, okay, where's the joke? And they think that, oh, this is a funny thing that happened to me, but where's the punchline?
Okay.
So it has to have set up where you keep certain information away, and then when you tell the punchline, it's a surprise, and so then people will laugh.
So speaking of open micers, I understand you're also trying to get more people on board.
Oh, for sure. I think you can see that this is a viable career choice. Looking at some of the successful comedians in Malaysia, like Douglas Lim, Andrew Neto, Jason Leong, they all make a living by being a professional stand-up comedian. And if you're funny, do you give it a shot? And you come on stage. It's a very nice community, very good friends. You'll make a lot of good friends with your fellow comedians, and it will help you get girls.
Maybe you could also tell us some of the places that are available for all these boys who want to get the girls. How can they go and try out or sort of audition for?
Yes, the weekly open mic is at One Mic Stand in PJ Life Arts, and there's also open mics in Crack House Comedy Club in Taman Tun. And for LOL events, we do Comedy Cow Cow, which is both a feature show and there's an open mic section there. And there's also Time Out Comedy Thursday, which is organized by Time Out KL. So those are the 4 avenues. If you want to try it out, my suggestion is to first go to One Mic Stand, where it's a less intimidative. It's a good room, a small crowd, so not very intimidating. So it's best to start off there.
When is it? One mic.
It's every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday, and every week of
every single week, unless there's a holiday, then they take a break. But it's every week. Every week Tuesday it starts at 8:30.
And of course, Russell Peters is coming down next week. I would ask you to promote the event, but I think it's already sold out.
It's not.
It's not.
Okay, that's good.
Well, that's the thing. I'm trying to sell tickets. And I can't get tickets. It's sold out. It's like, no.
I think that's the perception.
Yeah, that's
just assume that it's already sold out.
The first night is sold out. The last show in 2012 was sold out. We've sold out the first show, and the second show we're still selling tickets. We have less than 2,000 tickets left out of a total of 16,000. So we've sold about 14,000 tickets, and there are still some really good seats.
Okay.
So there's roughly 10 days to go. No, 1 week to go. 1 week to go to the show. So you can get tickets at ticketpro.com.my. And it will be a blast. I can promise you that. LOL events, we've grown over the years, so you can expect a really fantastic, one of the world's best comedian on stage, and a very experienced team to back it up to make the entire event, exciting, successful, and it's just
What the opening
people.
acts for Russell Peters?
Russell Peters has this American guy by the name of Greg Rogel. Is someone I heard that he's really good, very intellectual kind of comedy. He might pick a local comic to open, but no, it's something that we can't force upon him. It just depends on that, whether that lucky guy managed to impress Russell. Yeah.
So, anything you want to say to all the budding comedians, anyone who's thinking of getting into stand-up, any advice for them?
Drop us a mail, or we have our Facebook page, which is Comedy Club KL, Comedy Kakao, and our little events, and we have a team that takes care of each and every one of it. If you want to become a comedian or just want some advice on where to go and how to do it, you just drop us a Facebook message, and we'll reply and then give you tips. And really, comedians do get the girls. So if you're a guy and you think you're funny and you want to be famous, this is the way to do it.
Right. Thank you very much, Rizal, for coming in and sharing your insights about the
You're welcome.
stand-up
It's been
comedy.
fun. Yeah,
Thank
great.
you.